वर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्याये सर्वविघ्नों प्रशान्तये पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे. The worship of Lord Sri Satyanarayan is an integral part of Sanatana. This auspicious narration comes from one of the 18 Puranas, the Skanda Purana. It is in form of a dialogue between Lord Vishnu and sage Narada. Here we bring you the episode of Sri Satyanarayan Katha, and his worship is one where the devotee gets to shower the Lord with his prema and bhakti, which is love and devotion, in return for 4 rewards of life, which are fulfilled: dharma, spiritual need; artha, material need; kama, personal need; moksha, liberation. We urge followers of Sanatana Dharma to perform this beautiful rite. So, Shantaakaaram bhujaga-shayanam padmanaabham suresham vishvaadhaaram gagana-sadrisham meghavarnam shubhaangam Lakshmikaantam kamala-nayanam yogibhir dhyanagamyam vande Vishnum bhavabhayaharam sarvalokaikanatham. Vina venkatesham nanadho nanadas sada venkatesham smrami Hare venkatesha prasida priyam venkatesha prayacha Adideva jagatkaranam sridharam lokanatham vibhum vyapakam shankaram sarvabhaktesadam muktidam madhavam Satyanarayan Vishnum bhaje Shantaakaaram sakiritakundalam sakitavastram sarasirubhekshajam saharavakshasthalakaustubhashriyam namami Vishnu sirasat chaturbhujam. The worship of Lord Sri Satyanarayan is, as I said, is a part of Sanatana Dharma. Once there were 88,000 rishis and asked Maharshi Suta, the narrator of the Puranas, "O Maharshi, please tell us how mankind can attain salvation." Maharshi Suta answered, "Once Narada Muni asked Lord Vishnu, the consort of Goddess Lakshmi, the same question. I will tell you what Lord Vishnu told Narada, so listen carefully. Once Narada, during one of his sojourns to the various worlds, came to earth. There he saw people suffering as a result of their past deeds. To alleviate their suffering and bring them salvation, Narada travelled to Vishnuloka, and there he found Lord Vishnu adorned with Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Hasta in his 4 hands and a lotus around his neck. Narada spoke humbly, "O Supreme Lord, the Saviour of the destitute and troubled, I surrender at thy feet." Lord Vishnu said, "Narada, why have you come here? Tell me what you want, and I will fulfill your wishes." To which Narada replied, "O Bhagavan, people on earth are suffering in many ways as a result of their own past sinful deeds. Please bestow thy grace and reveal to me as how they can be helped." Lord Vishnu replied, "O Narada, mankind can rid itself of all its sorrows by performing a puja called the Satyanarayana puja. This puja, when performed according to its religious rites, will bring happiness, peace of mind, wealth in his life, salvation, and beyond." On hearing this, Narada was filled with joy and addressed Lord Vishnu thus, "O Lord, in your infinite grace, please tell me the details of the puja that you mentioned and how and when to perform it and who performed it before." Lord Vishnu answered, "This puja can be performed in any month, on a full moon day, or any auspicious day. One must gather his friends and relatives who have bhakti in their heart and perform the puja with devotion, offer fruit, ghee, milk, curd, butter, wheat flour, sugar, honey to the gods. After the puja is over, he must read the Satyanarayana Katha and distribute prasad to everybody. If the puja is thus performed, it will bring fulfillment of one's wishes. Particularly in the Kali Yuga, this puja brings contentment." So the Hindu timeline is divided into lots of eons. which contain lots of yugas, and we are in a particular yuga, which is the Kali Yuga. Okay? Maharshi Suta continued addressing the assembled rishis. O rishis, I will tell you that you all have observed the Satyanarayana Puja in the past. Once there lived a very poor Brahmin in the beautiful city of Kashi. Plagued by acute hunger, he used to wander about here and there every day. Lord Vishnu took the form of an old man and appeared before the pure Brahmin and asked, "Friend, why are you wandering aimlessly?" The poor Brahmin replied, "Sir, I am a very poor man. Unable to bear the pangs of hunger, I beg for alms. Sir, if you know a way out of this misery, please tell me." Thereupon Lord Vishnu, who was in the guise of an old man, replied, "O Brahmin, Lord Satyanarayana grants his devotees' wishes and removes their sorrows. So you should perform his puja and reap its benefits." Lord Vishnu then explained the details of the vrata to the poor Brahmin and disappeared. The poor Brahmin immediately resolved to perform the puja. After a sleepless night, he got up early in the morning and went to bed for hours. His mind fixed on only one thing, the puja. That day, he got a lot of money with which he bought fruits and milk, curd and honey, and performed the puja with his relatives and friends. With the Lord's grace, he shed his poverty and lived a contented life. Every month, on the full moon day, he performed the puja and finally attained moksha, or salvation. Maharshi Suta thus told the assembled rishis the story which originally was narrated by Lord Vishnu to Narayan. The rishis again addressed Maharshi Suta, "O great one, please tell us in detail who else performed the puja." Maharshi Suta continued, "One day when the poor Brahmin from Kashi was observing the vrata, a woodcutter entered his house and asked for water. Seeing the Brahmin perform the puja, the woodcutter inquired what the puja was about and what good it would bring. The Brahmin, who had been bestowed with Lord Narayana's grace, spoke, "This is the Satyanarayana vrata. Anybody who observes this vrata will get all riches. I myself have been bestowed with wealth." The woodcutter was delighted to hear this. He learned the proper way to perform the puja, ate the prasad that was offered, and went his way. With Lord Satyanarayana on his mind, the woodcutter resolved that he would observe the vrata with whatever he was going to make by selling firewood that day. He went to that part of the city where rich people lived, sold the firewood, and made twice the normal profit. Pleased with his luck, the woodcutter bought bananas, sugar, ghee, and all the ingredients for the vrata and performed the puja with the relatives and friends. By Lord Satyanarayana's grace, he too acquired enormous wealth and lived comfortably and attained moksha. Maharshi Suta continued, "O best of ascetics, I will now tell you the story further. In the olden days, there lived a wise king by the name of Ulkamukha. He had mastered all his senses and always spoke the truth. He used to go to temple every day and give gifts to the Brahmins. His lotus-faced wife was a pure and a pious woman. One day, the royal couple were performing the puja at the banks of the river Bhadrashila. At that time, a merchant called Sadhu sailed by, and seeing the king perform some puja, Sadhu stopped his boat, got off, addressed the king humbly, "O king, would you kindly tell me what you're doing with such devotion?" "O Sadhu, I have no children. In order that I may be blessed with children, I am worshipping the Almighty." On hearing this, the Sadhu spoke humbly, "O king, please tell me how to perform the puja. I would like to observe the vrata as I too have no children." The king told him all the details. Sadhu returned home and with great joy told his wife that they should perform the Satyanarayana puja, which would fulfill their desire to have children. He then resolved to perform the puja after the child was born. By divine grace, Sadhu's wife Leelavati conceived, and in due course a beautiful daughter was born to them. They named the child Kalavati. One day, Leelavati reminded her husband of his promise to perform the puja. Sadhu told his wife that he would do the puja at the time of his daughter's wedding and got busy with his work. In the meantime, Kalavati grew up and blossomed into a lovely girl. Sadhu sent out messengers to find a suitable bridegroom for his daughter. One of his messengers found a good-natured and handsome boy in a Vaishya family from Kanchananagar. Sadhu found the boy to be a suitable match for Kalavati and celebrated his daughter's wedding with great pomp and show. But Sadhu completely forgot about the puja and thus angered the Lord. Then, one day, Sadhu went on a business trip with his son-in-law. He stopped to trade at Rasnapura, that was ruled by King Chandraketu. Lord Satyanarayan placed a curse on Sadhu. One day in Rasnapura, some thieves robbed the king's treasury and were running away. The king's soldiers followed him in hot pursuit. The frightened thieves threw the things they had robbed near Sadhu and his son-in-law, who were sleeping under a tree, and escaped. Finding the king's treasure near Sadhu and his son-in-law, the king's soldiers arrested them and brought them before the king. The king ordered them to be chained and thrown into prison. Because of Lord's Maya, no one even listened to what Sadhu had to say in his defense. King Chandraketu also confiscated all of their merchandise. Lord Narayan's curse did not spare Sadhu's wife. Some robbers broke into her house and Leelavati lost everything. One day, Leelavati was very hungry and ran out of the house. She wandered here and there and stopped at a house where the puja was being performed. She stayed at that place until the puja was over and ate the prasad that was offered. When she reached home, it was late night. Leelavati asked where she had been. Kalavati told her mother that she was listening to the Satyanarayana Katha in somebody's house. Leelavati at once remembered her husband's promise to perform the puja and resolved to observe the Vrata herself. She collected all her relatives and friends and prayed to Lord Satyanarayana to forgive their sins. Lord was pleased with Leelavati's prayers, and he appeared before Chandraketu in his dream and told him to release the two merchants from prison, that they were not real thieves. If the king failed to do so, Lord Narayana warned that his kingdom, his wealth, and his children would all suffer. The next morning, the king told his counselors about his dream and ordered Sadhu and his son-in-law to be released. The latter were frightened and stood before the king with bowed heads. The king talked to them gently and said, "You two have suffered a great deal because of your fate, but there's nothing to fear." The king returned their merchandise, gave them new clothes and lots of gifts, and bade them goodbye. Sage Suta continued his stay. Later, Sadhu and his son-in-law departed for a pilgrimage to various holy places and gave gifts to the Brahmins and headed for home. After they traveled for some distance by sea, intending to test them further, the Lord appeared in the guise of an ascetic and questioned Sadhu. O merchant, what merchandise are you carrying in your boat?" Hearing this, Sadhu and his son-in-law answered the holy man in a proud and mocking tone. "O ascetic, why do you need to know what merchandise we have in our boat? Are you planning to steal our wealth? There's nothing except leaves in our boat." The ascetic replied, "So be it, and walked off the boat and stood on the shore watching the pair. As Sadhu finished his daily ablutions, he became uneasy as he realized that the boat was feeling lighter than it had been. Quickly he went to check his stock, and shocked to only find leaves where his stash of valuable merchandise had been, he almost swooned and began a loud lament. "Why are you lamenting?" his son-in-law asked. "This happened because of the ascetic's curse. Only he has the power to regain our riches. Let's go and beg for his forgiveness. And that's the only way back to our original state." Immediately, Sadhu and his son-in-law went to the ascetic, bowed at his feet again and again. "O holy person, please forgive us this grave error and protect us." The ascetic pacified them and said, "Since you did not fulfill your promise to perform my worship, you had to go through these hardships. On hearing these words of Lord Satyanarayan, Sadhu prayed, Lord, the whole world is drowned in your illusion, or Maya. Even Brahma and the other gods cannot comprehend who you are. How can I, with my limited knowledge, comprehend your various forms? Lord, I will worship you. Please bestow your compassion on me and forgive my forgetfulness. Please return my wealth and protect me. The Lord, pleased with Sadhu, granted all his wishes and disappeared. Sadhu returned to his boat and noted that all of his riches were returned. He made a prayer of thanks to God. He told his son-in-law to send a messenger ahead of their hometown to Ratnapura to let their wives know that they were coming home, and headed his boat in that direction. The messenger reached Leelavati just as Sadhu was about to land. He told her, "O mother, the master has arrived along with your son-in-law. The boat has just reached the shore." Leelavati was delighted to hear that her husband had returned. She hastened her daughter to finish the Satyanarayana Pooja that she was performing at the time. Both of them finished the worship and raced to the shore to meet their returning husband. But in her haste, Kalavati forgot to partake of the prasad. Because Kalavati forgot the most important part of the puja, Lord Satyanarayana then sank the boat and all the merchandise was lost and the son-in-law was drowned. The people waiting at the shore were shocked and saddened as they helplessly watched the tragedy. Leelavati was distraught and embraced her daughter. Her son-in-law has drowned. Our boat is lost right before our eyes, she wept. All this is the power of the Lord. Kalavati was crazed with sorrow, and believing that her husband was dead, she took his shoes that she had washed ashore in her hands and began to walk into the sea to kill herself. Sadhu watched the scene, realizing that it was only a drama created by God, and he began to pray to the Lord at that very moment. He invited all those gathered there to join him. The Lord was pleased and said, "O Sadhu, your daughter did not partake of the prasad from the puja, and she was performing in haste to see her husband. Hence you cannot see your son-in-law. Everything will be fine if she returns home and takes the prasad. When she returns from doing this, she will regain her husband and all will be well." Upon hearing this message from heaven, Kalavati rushed home and ate the prasad and came back. Upon her return, her husband and the boat full of merchandise reappeared on the water's surface in good shape. The young couple and their relatives were extremely happy, and Kalavati asked her father, "Father, why are you delaying? Let's go home." And upon returning to their house, his whole family performed the puja in gratitude for their safe return. Later, Sadhu performed the Satyanarayana worship on every full moon or Purnima and Sankranti without fail for the rest of his life. And by Lord's grace, he enjoyed all the comforts of this world and attained salvation. Maharshi Suta continued, "There was once a king called Tungadwaja who underwent a lot of misery after refusing the prasad. One day, after hunting, he was resting under a shady tree. Some cowherds were happily performing the puja nearby. The king, in his vanity, refused the prasad that they offered. When he reached his palace, he found that his kingdom, his 100 sons, his wealth, and everything was destroyed. It then occurred to him that Lord Satyanarayana was probably angry with him. He went back to the cowherds, prostrated himself before the Lord, and performed the puja with great devotion. And the Lord showered his blessings, and the king regained everything that he had lost earlier. He lived happily and reached Vaikuntha after death." "O holy men, I have narrated to you the Satyanarayana Katha, which was originally told by Lord Vishnu to Narayan. By observing this Vrata, mankind can attain salvation, and in Kali Yuga, observance of the Vrata can lead to gratification of one's wishes and salvation." Thus ended the narration of Maharshi Suta, after which the rishis entered their respective homes. Now do the arati. Okay. Yes.
It's a very slow speaker. Just give up.
It should play on here as well.
Yeah, yours might be a lot.
Obviously, we don't have the internet.
Oh, no. Sorry about this.
हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि नीलाम्बुजश्यामलकोमलाङ्गं सीतासमारोपितवामभागं पाणौ महासायकचारुचापं नमामि रामं रघुवंशनाथम् मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मकं वानरयोग्यमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये मङ्गलं भगवान् विष्णुर्मङ्गलं गरुडध्वज मङ्गलं पुण्डरीकाक्षो मङ्गलाय तनो हरे सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते नारायणी नमोस्तुते
Anybody with nut allergies? Just to check. I don't want to do ALS.
Can you do one of those?